All right, so today we're going to look at something a bit different. Maybe you guys already caught the entire hype about Frost Giant yesterday. New studio, new gaming studio that actually dedicates all their energy on RTS games, which is kind of cool because, well, we didn't really have a good RTS game in ages. And let's face it, outside of Warcraft 3, who everybody hoped would make a little bit of a revival with Warcraft 3 Reforged, and then that didn't happen because Blizzard just doesn't give a shit about the competitive scene. And StarCraft 2, we currently don't really have a whole lot of RTS games that are really played on a high level. So Frost Giant tries to change that, and it's a company that consists of a lot of people that formerly worked for Blizzard and grew up with real-time strategy in general, as you can see here, for example. So it's kind of hyped, and you got to give them one thing in particular. They already started with a really good marketing effort. I mean, everybody yesterday ran a story on these guys once that they actually launched the project. And of course, it's going to take quite some time to get anything done there, but it's kind of cool. And especially when we're talking about people defected from Blizzard to start new companies. I mean, we had Dreamhaven just recently also popping up, which is a company led by Mike Morhaime and others, also formerly Blizzard employees. And well, in my case, he was running the show. So it's well actually pretty cool to see all of that happening right now, and I'm pretty excited about it. I mean, Blizzard has made, let's call it, a couple of mistakes in the past few weeks, months, and years. So it's kind of awesome to actually see that not only some of the developers that we had at Blizzard are realizing that too and are saying like, hey, listen, we're going to try to do our own thing right now and go back to core values and what we were here to do initially. But in this case, it's a dedicated focus on RTS. And again, coming from Warcraft 3, coming from StarCraft 2, that's something that I definitely support. And if you look at the core values that Frost Giant is running here, that's actually kind of neat as well. I mean, at least what they're stating here sounds good. First of all, not having to reinvent the wheel is something that I can definitely sign. If you just put your own touches to the RTS genre, that's amazing, but you don't have to reinvent the entire thing. I always like the hero aspect that, for example, Warcraft 3 brought into the game, but then you have StarCraft 2, which has a bit more of a macro focus over the micro elements that Warcraft 3 has. But if you can find some kind of middle ground between the two, I think you can definitely do a whole lot here. You also have, of course, then the feedback aspect, and that one I really love. The one thing that Blizzard actually in the past couple of years probably fucked up the most is that they always thought they knew better than everyone else. Heroes was the perfect example. From the alpha, they got so much feedback from casters, from influencers, from content creators, and from players telling them, listen, this is something that we really like, this is something the game has to have, and they actually actively asked us for feedback. Like from alpha onwards, we gave them tons and tons of feedback, and you could really tell that that feedback was taken and ended right up in the bin. So Blizzard was always sitting there, yeah, we know better. And a lot of the feedback that we gave them already in alpha was implemented 3 or 4 years later, when it was already too late, and they, at least in private, just straight up admitted, yeah, listen, I think you guys were right. And it's ridiculous. So if a lot of these things would have been listened to a bit sooner, that would have been fantastic for the game and would have definitely made it much stronger. And I think that's something that can be seen in a lot of the Blizzard things that are currently pushed out. So if Frost Giant really listens to players, that would be amazing. I mean, if you want to really look at a game like an RTS game where competitive aspect is super important, then you need to have basic things when you launch a game, like a proper ladder, for example, a good ranking system, and all of these things. And that's something that Blizzard abandoned in so many games. Look over to Warcraft 3. These guys still don't have a proper ladder. It's ridiculous. And just other stuff like a proper observer mode. You don't need to have the most fancy features when you just first launch the game, because obviously for a lot of companies that launch a game, it doesn't really matter if it's a new company or if it's just like an established one. It's not the most important thing that all the casts and all the tournaments are 100% yet, but there's so many basic things in an observer mode that as a content creator make life much easier for you and really just help you to tell a story to your audience and make them connect with the game, the players, and just like give them additional information. And that has to be also a core element that companies are looking to. So if Frost Giant really listens to feedback, and so far it seems that at least a lot of people are on board that have direct contacts to content creators, to players, then I'm all on board. New RTS would be absolutely amazing. That would be fantastic. As I said, we have Dreamhaven out there too. They said they are working on 2 projects, so it's going to be interesting to see if maybe one of them is also leaning at least a little bit into the RTS sector, or if they're working on completely different genres. But either way, there's a lot happening right now, and I don't know, I kind of like it. So it will take some time. And of course, you have to always look at these things a little bit cautious, since it's going to take some time and you don't know if it's going to be a success. I still remember when we, for example, had Hellgate London come out, which also got hailed back then as the super cool project where you have former Blizzard employees working at, and then the whole thing kind of fell apart. So I hope that there's going to be a bit more success with Frost Giant and Dreamhaven, but either way, just the outlook of having a triple A RTS game on the horizon is something that I think is fantastic. So yeah, was a little bit of a dive here. Again, you guys can check out the links in the video description. Also, let me know what you think. Do you think an RTS game can be successful in the time of League of Legends or Fortnite and all the other games that we're currently having on the top of Twitch? Is that something that people are excited about? Is it something that you are excited about, or do you think that the genre is pretty much can't be saved? And what do you think about Frost Giant and Dreamhaven? So leave me a couple of comments there, and we might do a few more videos about this in the future, especially once that Frost Giant is getting a little bit closer to actually developing a game or giving us some glimpses of what exactly they're looking at and how they're trying to just design the game in general. So again, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and see you guys next time.